Hey, how y'all doing? This is Glow, and you're listening to the Rising Rush podcast.
All right, welcome to the Rising Rush podcast. We talk everything Dragon Ball Legend related, such as news, meta, hot takes, you name it. I'm your host, A-Town, alongside our co-hosts, Opsto, Desla, and Glow. And we're going to kick things off with the weekly reset as of the 8th of January. First, Happy New Year and Happy Holidays to everybody. We did take a week break, but now we are back at it. First things first, as a reminder, the Ultra Banner Fulgurant Violet Beast featuring the Ultra Beast Gohan that goes away as of the 14th of January. So if you're still trying to pull that unit to get him at high stars, you have up until that date to do so. Remember to check your mailbox because we've got the Daima runner-up gift that is available for you guys to pick up since we're going to be getting a new Daima episode tomorrow. We'll also have the Ultra Riser banners resurgence. So we got a bunch of older Ultras that came back. Current suite is the Golden Frieza, the Kaioken Goku, and then we've got the Gogeta Blue. That currently goes away probably at the end of this recording, which is the 10th of January. But the next suite is the Ultra Brawly, Janemba, and Kid Buu. That'll be available from the 10th of January through the 13th of January. We've also got some New Year raids that are currently live in game. We've got a total of 6, including the Gogeta Blue. That all goes away on the 17th of January, so go ahead and grind and get your CC and all materials for that. We've also got some new units and some Zenkais, such as the Zenkai Blue Bros. That is live in game, so we'll finally talk about that. We'll also talk about the long-awaited Zenkai Gogeta Blue. He is also live in game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. The Choice Battle has also been live through the 18th of January, so if you need some erasers, coins, etc., go ahead and do that. Hoi Poi, which is my favorite event, that is back through the 15th of January, and the exchange for that goes away on the 18th of January, so go ahead and collect your coins, get your materials, get the CC, get your Z-Power. Hopefully you got good luck on that. And we've got a surprising Godku EQUIP that is live in game, so you can already tell I'm in Climb 9 smiling from ear to ear. We'll definitely be breaking that down. We got some CC sales reset. There's some New Year happy bags that are available. So if you didn't summon on any of the banners, all the units are on it, including the Legends Fest units. So if you want to get any of those and also get some freehand Z power for your Legend Limited units, all those go away on the 10th as well, probably when this recording goes up. So if you haven't already, definitely pick those up. And then lastly, we've got the survey that's available through the 21st of January, kind of encompassing everything that dropped for Legends Fest. So let's go ahead and talk about the Legends Fest overall ranking. Now, currently we're in part 3. We're at the ending of part 3, so you just got the update. We've got a new raid releasing the, Zenkai Gogeta Blue. It's been a roller coaster, I gotta say, for like part 1. Part 2 almost put us to sleep, and then part 3 put us on a whole different rocket ship. So we'll start off with you, Desla. What do you think that was ranked in this Legends Fest? Are you happy with it, or would you give it a 10 out of 10? I know you ain't gonna give it a 10 out of 10, but what would you rank it overall?
I mean, I think it's only fair to compare it to what parts or what celebrations have had like the same structure. So part 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely exempt 2020 and 2021. So 22, 23, and 24. Which do I think were better? I would say that 23, as far as character picks, really can't go wrong with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
No one saw Transforming Beast coming. Evo Ken was cool. No one's gonna sit here and say they weren't like a nice pick. It was honestly a pretty obvious one given the theme of that year, but whatever, it
Mm-hmm.
was fine. Goku and Barkwork, nice little surprise because that was the first time we ever got a game original. Also the last time, so oops.
Oops.
And then the Ultra UI, you really can't go wrong. So again, overall, I would say that's probably the top pick right there. Then it really comes down to 22 and 24 duking it out. And I would say that in a vacuum, that 24 is better. However, if you include the entire year before it, that 24 is objectively the worst fest of the bunch, and it's not close. The reason why is because there was a complete lack of anything like inspiring, new, whatever to like shake things up. It
Mm-hmm.
was just transforming units for part 1, another transforming unit for part 2, from the Buu Saga no less.
Mm-hmm.
And then part 3 is just Ultra Beast, very safe pick. I mean, not gonna sit here and say he's not a cool character. They definitely went, to the moon and back on his animations. I'm very glad to see that. But regardless, just very safe by the books, not willing to try and find a way to push the envelope further. Just really a meh celebration. Meanwhile, you have, 2022, which admittedly is easily the weakest part two of the bunch, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
VNT just should not have been in a celebration of this caliber, period. Tag fours, while I do understand the concerns of, wanting to at the time have them be fusing instead, we didn't have to wait till 6th anniversary to see that, which, to be fair, it should not have taken that fucking long. But anyway, tag fours are still a cool pick. I really can't get mad at them. And then obviously, Gogeta Blue introduced what is, looked at now by the community as, Hitler reincarnate, aka the counter gauge. So, it is what it is. But again, at least they introduced something new, You can't say the same thing for this fest. The best thing it got is like a one shot, I guess, with Beast Special Beam Cannon.
Yeah.
Which, okay. It's not really anything that's going to, change the game all that much. It's literally the same mechanic in terms of how it works as Hit's time skip. Gogeta's is completely just new. There's nothing to compare it to before that. It's just there. That's the first thing. So, overall, I would have to say, again, in a vacuum, that 24 is middle of the pack, like you've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
But when you compare it to what we've had before that, I don't see a world where it's anything better than what we've gotten for 22 or 23.
I mean, I definitely agree with you on that. On top of that, with the new slash, reusable mechanic with Ultra Beast having the special beam cannon, it's not even like a true one shot if, players don't play it right. For example, combo compensation can affect it. And then also, if you have a full health character and he's got enough stats on him, it'll get him the absolute, but it's not going to fully kill him. And I've seen a lot of players misplay that special beam cannon. They're just instant forfeit as soon as it doesn't kill the unit. So there's that. But Glow, I gotta hear you, man. Are you gonna rip this Legends Fest to shreds? Did it not sit well with you, or did it give some saving grace with the Zenkais they dropped this week?
Referencing what Dessler brought up about the previous years, I'd actually counter one thing. I think VT was a good choice, but I think the three things that come into play when they pick units is what is the unit, the choice of the unit, what does the meta need to make things better, and then the third thing is how good is that unit. I think VT was a good choice. I think they were actually a moment that I think was good for a part two. The problem was VT was not good. I think if VT was good, people would not have an issue with them being that part two. And I think a similar situation happened this year. VB was good. Rosé was not. Only one of them was what the meta needed. And the meta did not get fixed. We look at part two. Daima was good. Tamagami was good. 3Ku was good. 3Ku was not what the meta needed at all. Not even close. Now, Daima, you could argue whether that's hype or not. I've already ran my victory lap on that. And then you get to part three. Ultra Beast, safe pick. It is what it is. I think, honestly, I hate to say it, the saving grace of this festival was GB and Godku. I think without that, I would have put this fest at a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. With them, I'm giving maybe a 5 or 6.
Okay. So they went from completely dog water to, average or something like that, commendable somewhat.
For a celebration, it's okay. For a fest, it's the worst fest we've ever had.
So from a festival perspective, with the units that they drop, even with the Zenkai's unique equips, etc., which, did we get any other unique equips besides Godku they dropped very last minute?
Sword of Cope.
Oh, yeah.
Sword of Cope. But the thing is this, the problem I also have with it is that, compared this to that year when we had, we got 3 Zenkais? Last time we got Jiren, Bardock, and who else?
Ape.
And Ape. We got 3 Zenkais. We're a Zenkai short right now.
I mean, we've got the...
no, we've gotten 3.
We got 3. Part 2, or the end of part 1 going into part 2.
Oh, yeah, GV?
Yep.
I completely forgot about GV. Yeah, they're dog shit. Spoiler alert.
But I mean, that's 3 for 3. I mean, the picks overall, I'm seeing a lot of God Key resemblance, which I'll talk a little bit more about that. But, I mean, you got to give part 3 some credit, right? Did it bring it at least higher than the 5 or something? Or is 6 the highest you're going to give it?
I'll be 6 if I'm feeling like Mother Teresa.
Well, hopefully, Legends devs, if you guys are listening, hopefully you step your game up going into 2026 and not hold all your marbles in Part Three's basket. Try to spread that out and do some different picks. But what about you, Ops, though? I know we didn't get much Android support besides the Celza.
Oh, Celza for me was by far the best part of Fest, but bias aside, this is still by far the worst Fest we've ever had. And in terms of major celebrations being the Fests and Annies, I'd even go so far as to say that this was worse than fourth Annie and about as bad as second Annie.
Wow, that's pretty low. And
of course, the only saving grace we had for this entire Fest was Beast surprisingly being a very good release.
Mm-hmm.
And two, we got finally Zenkai Gogeta Blue.
Yes, sir.
That's really it.
Yeah, we needed him like really bad. And with some teams that I've been testing out, which we'll go into a little bit, like you could either use him as a bench buffer or you can run him in the front three, and he does phenomenal with his kit the way that it is right now. When I first saw his kit, I thought he was just going to be like an alt merchant because he just grabbed the alt twice. But after reviewing everything, they removed a lot of the restrictions and gave him a little bit more, which again we'll break down later. But what could they have done for you, Opsto, that could have brought it from dog water to an average Fest for you?
And you can't say Android buff.
I wasn't going to.
All right.
I was
going to speak objectively.
All right.
Having, for one thing, a good meta.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really so hard? Apparently it is, because in my opinion, the last actually good meta we ever had was like the 2019 New Year's when the Forest first got here. That's really it.
Wow.
But aside from that, actually good units to drop, because Goku Black is an embarrassment.
Hey, he's not that bad.
Yes, he is. Shut up. I'm sorry, but if Super Saiyan 3 Goku was Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Fusion Reborn, that would have been fine, but no, we don't need more fucking Majin Buu saga. So that was a gigantic miss. Daima is good. I like Daima. Good release. Only good release we've had.
Yeah, and he's the only red release too, I believe, right?
Yeah, the one red in this game to actually fight the 50 yellows. And then we got another yellow with Beast, with Daima being the only one being able to realistically stop him.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the Ultra release, I'd even go so far as to say that Beast as an Ultra is very good for the game.
Yeah.
He's a very healthy unit, surprisingly, even though he's a Gohan.
That's true.
In fact, the last two Ultras, well, I forgot about MV. If we forget about MV, Turles and Beast are probably the two best Ultras we've ever gotten. Incredibly healthy for the meta. You can still counter them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not anti-play the game. They're just very fun, powerful units.
And that's how they should make them too. Like, make them like have a skill gap or a learning curve to do well in the meta, instead of as soon as you hit the field, the unit just plays by itself, like Ultra Majin Vegeta does with the counter unique gauge and everything else. So hopefully they learn from this trend and they start creating more healthier units going forward, and kind of step away from this counter unique gauge stuff, or add some more units that nullify that, so we'll have more of a healthy balance. But we'll see.
No, they're obviously gonna make more units like Goku Black that do nothing.
But I won't get too much into it because I'm gonna go on a rant about Goku Black. If you find ways to dump his gauge, he's actually a good unit. But
yes, having to waste precious blues and greens on trash.
But the blue, I'm not gonna go into it. But
would you rather use a blue with VB, Daima, or Goku Black?
I'm gonna be honest.
I'll
use
tell
it with
you
Goku
right now,
Black.
I wouldn't even use a swap on Rose.
Oh,
must
God.
let the team slot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Look, Goku
He's
Black.
a liability.
Goku Black and Transforming Vegito Blue are like peanut butter and jelly. Those guys go so well together with the sub count manipulation, the buff removals on Rush, ults and such. I mean, yeah, he can't remove buffs off blue cards, which Daima Goku literally just bends him over. But for everybody else, he puts in good work. Like,
No,
not really.
Think about it like this. We already have differing opinions on GB, but the one thing we can all say about GB is he does good damage. If you have to fight or even compile more than one sentence to justify Rose, he's not good.
So requiring setup that is too much for him. Like if there's
You require setup, you require good bench, you require good equips to even attempt to look good.
I mean, I've been doing well with them with no Zenkai bench buffer, and then when I added one, running them on like a PO kind of setup, I've been doing very well. But maybe I just haven't fought the right teams. I don't know. Maybe that's me. But not get too sidetracked, because I can go down the Goku Black rabbit hole. No puns intended.
What hole? There's nothing there.
There's nothing, quite literally.
y'all won't let me breathe with this, will y'all?
Never.
Well, for overall the Legends Festival, part one didn't hit. Well, it hit for me because I like Future and I like God Key, but that's very questionable for everybody else in the community. Part two, Majin Buu Saga, we really didn't need any additional buffs for that, but Daima Goku was cool. Tamagami was cool. Hopefully, we get more releases like that. And then part three was exactly what we needed and more with Goku getting his equip. So for me, it went from dog water to average. I'm not going to say it's the worst celebration that we've ever had, but compared to all the other large celebrations like the anniversaries and Legends Fest, it's probably the worst out of all of them. But an overall celebration, I'd probably put it in the middle of the pack compared to a monthly campaign festival or monthly campaign event, which is not saying much. But let's go ahead and move on to some of these unit breakdowns. We'll start off with the free-to-play Super Saiyan Blue Goku. First, we'll move on to you, Desla. What do you think about this overall unit? Do you think he's usable? I mean, he locks after using his main once he's 50% health, but outside of that, is he doing anything else?
He has a couple of cute niche situations that can pop up, I guess, that can lead to him doing some nice things here and there, but otherwise, like, it's just most free-to-play units at this point. You give a passing glance, and maybe here and there you might have one that has a cute gimmick you want to try out for shits and giggles for about a day or so, and then you just drop him and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that. Like, outside of the sub-count manipulation and the fact that he would have to hit 50% HP just to get some of these buffs and such, like, that's asking for a lot. Especially with this hydrogen bomb meta where we've got Ultra Beast running around, special beam cannon people in the chest. We've got Ultra Majin Vegeta that's able to just lock you in with the counter unique gauge and hit you with the blue card that does massive damage. You've also got, Transforming Vegito Blue that just puts him in the dirt, and him being a blue. So like these greens are just dumping all over him. So do you think it's just not a healthy meta for him? Is he just a novelty at this point?
I mean, again, it's the same thing as most free-to-play units where they're just purely there for distraction. Like a lot of these, like plats they drop for previous older units where you use them to like kind of relive a bit of a glory day period, but you realize that a plat isn't going to be enough. They need a Zenkai, and then you go through that whole realization as you're getting your ass beat by some unit that came out like 2 days ago, and blah blah blah, whatever. But more than anything, it just comes down to remembering that at the end of the day, you're playing this game to have fun. So if you want to use them, go nuts, but don't expect them to do anything crazy.
Completely understandable. I'll move on to you, Glow. So have you used this unit at all, or have you ran into people using him in PvP? What do you think?
He's a non-factor.
Straight up non-factor?
Non-factor.
So he's not doing nothing special. Like he is complete dog water, piece of trash. Don't even use him.
He's a cool art, and that's it.
So he put him in a picture frame and just leave him in the vault. That's wild. Yep. But I mean, like looking at his overall stats, like he has a pretty even stat spread. Sitting around like the 250, 262 kind of strike and blast. He's holding a strike and blast as well. Blue card does massive, and I mean it doesn't nullify endurance, which we're in a heavy endurance meta, so that doesn't help you. I mean the green card is pretty decent. You get 2 cards, you get key, you get health, and you can nullify special cover change. Is that
not like the bare minimum right now?
I mean, yeah.
Like for any unit, is that not the bare minimum for a green card?
Like the problem is free to plays are not good anymore. Unless you are a support, you're a failure of a free to play, like your DOA.
Damn.
When was the last non-support like free to play you said, oh wow, this is a really good unit?
I think the Yellow Trunks was like the very last one in my brain is thinking about.
To me, it was the Blue Bulma, and that's only for Dragon Ball Saga.
Yeah, that's not good. But I mean, I can't even make it sound good because even with his blast card giving like 100% additional blast damage inflicted against blast armor, that's even lower than what you see from other premium units that give like either like 130 or 150 and stuff. So he's even below that bar.
Yeah, because the game is, listen, free-to-plays are just there to look cool and for them to fill out on their stat sheet, hey, we dropped something.
They check the box, they hit the bar, so there's nothing else needed for that. Well,
and it sucks though because first of all, I don't know if y'all remember when they tried to do that like new thing they did with the free to play arts with the background art and them like
The side, the
looking.
side
No, they
view.
said they were only going to do that for the year.
Yeah.
Was it only for the year?
Yeah, they said that.
Well, that was earlier this year, and then they stopped doing it.
Was it earlier
No,
this year?
no, like not for like the rest of the year. They said that they were going to do that for about a year.
It wasn't even about a year.
It was about.
What was
a
the
little
first
more than
one?
half.
The first one was like the purple evil, not evil boo, super boo, and then I think the last one was the yellow first form cell.
Yeah, I'm saying when was that? When was
I
Evil
think
Bee
I
and when
think
was Cell?
the disparity between them was like it wasn't exactly a year. It was like maybe a year and like a month and a half before it would have made a year, but that's still about a year.
Yeah. Well, I
Either
mean,
way, the thing that sucks with these free to plays is that like a lot of them got like sparking level like
Well,
character arcs.
The last one was the Broly that came out during like the Golden Frieza campaign.
Yeah,
So
that was the last year.
Yeah, that was a year.
Yeah, like it sucks because you look at the arts for these characters and like these could like ignoring those ones, the side profile ones, like these would be sparking level like arts for a lot of these characters.
you think they
And
wasted that art?
yes, I 100% think they wasted these arts because I'm looking at some of them like Blue Belljack, he has a good art. The Blue DBS Broly, good art. The
Sin Shenron.
Sin Shenron, good art, waste.
Android 13
Even
too.
Android 13, good art wasted. Even Pui Pui, good art wasted. The trunks we just got, good art wasted. Like, come on now. Like, these are really dope arts we've had for like characters in this game. It's just they're dead. Like even the purple Kefla, that's a cool art. Wasted.
Yeah. I mean, we need a new Kefla in the game anyway, so hopefully 2026 we'll finally get like a new Kefla at some point, maybe an LF or an Ultra or something like that. But overall with this blue Super Saiyan God Blue, well, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, don't want to mess that up. Like besides his lock, I don't see anything else that he's doing, and I've seen a couple of like showcase videos of him as well. Like even towards like the end of Go Rush video, he was just like, "Nah, I can't even sugarcoat. Like he's trash. He's just straight up trash." Which it could be a testament on why no one else is using him. But Obsto, if you're there, what do you think about this? Have you ran into him in PvP at all?
I have not. His only use is on bench for the raids.
To give the extra currency. That's fine.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, where else are you going to realistically use him? BR30?
Probably. Isn't ZVG like BR30 right now?
Yeah, he's trying to grind back up.
I mean, to be fair, like he didn't play the game for like what, 4 months, maybe 5?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So it's going to take him a little bit, but maybe he can use the free to play Goku there and give us an assessment, because outside of
you can use any unit down there if you're even half decent at the game and still cook.
Wow. But I mean, overall, like I can't say that I've used them. Like I've seen his art, and currently I have a blue already for God Key. I know nobody's gonna like me when I say this, but Blue Beerus, he cooks with the current availability, the current available units that are in game right now. But I mean, overall, like I haven't found a really need to use him. His lock is cool, but once you cross past 50% of your HP, which he heals after every hit, that's going to be hard to even get to that. And then if you cross that too further, you have units that can just destroy him or lock him in or whatever the case may be. So I think that'll call it for this free-to-play Goku. He's a novelty. If you're a free-to-play unit, you want to get some good currency out of the current raids and co-op. Co-op is giving a lot of materials. So you want to stock up on those. Now is the time to do it, but don't bring him into PvP. Or if you want to just play on hard mode, go ahead, bring him in PvP. Now let's move on to some of the more exciting releases, such as the Blue Bros Zenkai. So we've already got their unique equip earlier in the year, and we were expecting to get that Zenkai pretty soon. Finally, they dropped them, even after, releasing the social media news like a week beforehand, not dropping him in that update, and then dropping him and the Zenkai Blue Gogeta and the Plat in the same reset. We'll start off with you, Glow. What is your assessment on this unit? Is he good now? Does he break top 10 or not at all?
Godku?
Oh no, the Blue Bros.
Oh, Blue Bros. Oh, they're dog shit.
Dang, dog shit? Really?
Like day one, I looked at their kit. The big problem was they got so much shit, but none of it actually looked cohesive. And the other bigger problem is obviously their plat and how restrictive it is to their tags.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Like, oh yeah, you get the like anti like revive stuff. What revive unit are we running, bro? Like, let's be for real. There's just so much in their kit. Like, you just look and you're just like, hey, none of this is actually like really useful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when like you look at the other Zenkais, like those 1% Zenkais, and they get something useless, like Zamasu getting cover null on cover change. Like this is it on an LF unit. A
Wow.
bunch of stuff they didn't need, and none of it actually, and very little of it actually like translates well.
Yeah. But what about the unique equip that they got with it? With the combination of those two, don't that make them like a stronger pairing overall, or is it still not enough?
The big thing they should have done is just obviously not all this nonsense that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big thing they should have done was focus on making Goku a lot more healing and disruptive because the whole thing was that Goku like was able to heal, he was able to debuff the opponent, he was able to destroy their cards. Like they should have made Goku the more disruptive side. And then Vegeta's whole thing was Vegeta was the more high damaging and punished the opponent for switching. That's what they should have done with the units. Actually have them have a bit of an identity and then work on like the fact of like, okay, the more you tag switch them, the more damage they get, the more cards they get, the more key, the more fluid they get. Like that's what it should have been. But it feels like they just slapped things together and hoped it was gonna be good.
And then also looking at his equip, they added the limit of them getting like cover null 3 times. Like I feel like that should have been permanent instead of being limited like that. So
Like it's dumb. It's just dumb.
yeah. And even for bench purposes, I believe that's like what half of the Zenkais for like Vegeta clan and the other half is for Sun family. Who are you gonna really get the full buffs on? Do we have any
Like,
purple tag units besides them?
I mean, oh,
Besides like Goku and Frieza, but
other than Goku Frieza, they're the only other ones that would get it. That's
wow.
it.
So that didn't work out too well. They should have just gave them Saiyan Gaki or something like that to make them even more of a useful bench. But
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't seem too cohesive at all. I know like the Goku and the Vegeta side, one gets a card if you use a blast, one gets a card if you use a strike. But like the cover null, the access to cover null, it only being 3 times doesn't really feel too good. Can they get it more than 3 times? Like, can they get it in the kit?
Let me see. Let me see if I remember. I don't. I know Vegeta. I know Vegeta gets it on like his green card. Vegeta gets Covenant on his green card,
Mm-hmm.
but outside of that, I don't. I don't think they really do. I know they get a bunch of like immunity to like Dragon Ball destruction when enemy switches. That's
Mm-hmm.
so stupid. No, like that's stupid. But like outside of that, I really don't think they get much.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. But I mean, at least they have like the sub count reduction on Ultimate's Rising Rush, which is always useful to just kind of like get them out of there. But I mean, overall, especially with like how the top 10 units are looking, I don't know if he makes the cut. I don't know if they make the cut. So, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's only been what a couple days. We'll see how they kind of like evolve around the meta. Maybe they'll have like a different perfect pairing, and that'll help boost their viability. We'll start with you, Ops. Though, have you ran into this unit at all? Has this guy gave you any trouble? What is your take on this?
Who, the Blue Boys?
Yeah.
I've ran into them. They haven't really done anything.
Mm.
They exist. They can do good damage on their blue, but they're not really doing much of anything else.
Wow. And what about their combo potential? I believe they can have like a short moment of like double draw card art speed when doing tag switches and stuff. But outside of that, have you seen them like combo for long periods of time, or they just haven't had the chance to because you're just that good?
Again, I haven't really seen them do much. And if they even do get a combo off, like it's almost like almost every single unit in today's meta either reduces card draw speed or
Mm-hmm.
increases cost.
Yeah, that's true. So then I guess maybe if they got a Zenkai 6 months ago, maybe they'll have a better impact in the meta. But for today's standards, power creep seems to just be too strong that keeps them lower in the fight. Is that about it?
Yeah, pretty much. They're fine. You can use them, but don't expect them to be like a super dominant unit. Like if we compare previous LF Zenkais, like during
Mm-hmm.
the 6th anniversary, you had Kid Buu and Corrupt and Bird Zamasu, and they were fantastic. They were forces in the meta. This is not what GV is not what they are.
Yeah. I can see that. And then what about you, Desla? I know you used to be the Sun Family main, but not anymore. What is your take on this, the Blue Bros? Are they good enough or are they just novelty too?
I would say they ride that fine line of good enough and novelty to being in the middle pretty much as
Mm-hmm.
far as where I would place them myself. I definitely do not think they're anything close to top 10, absolutely not. I do say though that they're at least fun again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
as far as running them again and all that kind of stuff to just be able to, use them and feel confident about their tanking being at least competent, their damage being still pretty good. That was never really an issue because their plat definitely fixed that even like way back when they got that. So that was never really a concern. But again, it's just a matter of where, unfortunately, I think they were scared to give this unit a lot
Mm-hmm.
because they already had a plat set in place, so they didn't want to overtune them. My concern with that is that this is a capstone Zenkai of a very hype character to try and rebound this embarrassment of a celebration. I think that at that point, you throw caution in the wind and just say, fuck it. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So I think that the approach they went with for that was not the correct one. And I really like would not have minded at all if the Blue Boys were like some like top 10 borderline top 5 character. I would have been perfectly fine with it, no lie. But overall, though, I definitely do think that it's unfortunate they missed the mark on this because as far as the two LF Zenkais we got, I was definitely more hyped for this one
Mm-hmm.
because I'll be honest with you, they've missed the boat like numerous times to the point now where it just when it happened, it's like, oh, cool, I guess for Gogeta Blue. Like I wasn't moved pretty much.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But overall, very, very 5 out of 10 Zenkai. Mill, just run the mill.
Yeah, I can see that. And I also think like with them also releasing the Zenkai Gogeta Blue and dropping us this Gaku plat, those two larger updates kind of overshadowed these guys getting their Zenkai. Like if you're comparing them apples to apples, it's probably the weakest of the bunch, which we'll get into the other units breakdowns and kind of discuss on why we believe one is better than the other. But one cool fact about these guys is whatever they tag switch, they're stacking 10% the special move damage that kind of lasts for the whole fight. So that's cool. You can just keep switching and make their blue card as strong as it needs to be and try to one shot your opponents. But I mean, with the combination of the unique equip that they currently have, they also released another awaken equip to kind of give them some additional strike damage and such like that. Like they have a pretty decent like equipped lineup. So maybe that was kind of one of their trends on why they didn't go super overboard on the unit. But then they didn't really give too much damage inflict on top of the Zenkai, which was very strange in the last two uniques. Do you think that they gave him additional damage inflict, or did they give him like what +10? That's it.
For their equip.
For the Zenkai itself, I know for
Well,
the
the Zenkai itself, their numbers are on the relatively lower side, which I do agree is a little weird when especially like Gogeta comparison actually ramps when he's on the field. So
mm-hmm.
I understand why you wouldn't give the same thing at least to Goku and Vegeta, who are a tag unit and have the inherent ability to be on the field longer because they can tag.
Their
So there's
only
that.
like damage inflicted that they got, if I recall, is just the fact that when faced with an enemy, they got 10 damage for 10 counts.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's all they needed. That's all the devs think they needed. 10
Mind you,
10%.
GB gets 20% for 10 counts every 3 counts just for existing on the battlefield.
Just for breathing. So I think they made the apparent attention of where they want us to really pay attention to, which will be the other two units we're about to speak about. But I mean, overall, Desla, for your assessment, just top 5 mil of the mill. You can use him, sure, but he's also for novelty.
Pretty much. I mean, it really just comes down to the fact that, again, like I mentioned before, there's no reason why they should have just held back on this because, yes, I get they have an equip, but, like, it's the end of a major celebration that you know damn well was not good.
Mm-hmm.
So the least you can do is give us this to give some kind of impression in our heads that Fest wasn't actually as bad as we thought it was. It was, but that's at least, a nice way to, kind of get us, out the door and moving on to the next thing without like having too much animosity towards the game.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, for my personal assessment with the Blue Bros, again, like they're being able to tag and stack up the blue card damage is nice, but the way that the amount of disrupt that's available in the current meta units, once you get into the higher ranks of PvP, these guys are not going to be comboing that long. And also having the limit of their cover null only being 3 times every time their tag switch. Yeah, it lasts for 15 timer counts, but every time you tag switch, it gets used. So potentially you're using up the only 3 that you have if you're not paying too careful about it. Similar to like Soda Hope's unique equipment, where if you pop too many green cards, you pretty much used up all your charges. So unfortunately, there's that. But I mean, the damage, yeah, it's cool, but they're also a purple too. But also, Vegeta doing the color reversal, that can help him out with some sustainability. There's also a bunch of units that go neutral and they just do not care and they one-shot them. So I mean, we'll have to see how they kind of shape up in the meta because it is still fresh. But hopefully you guys are able to put a use into these Blue Bros, since they've been an anticipated Zenkai. Not as much as anticipated as Gogeta Blue, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I mean, they're still welcome for sure. Now, let's talk about Godku's equip. This equip literally came out of nowhere. No announcement, no Twitter post, no Facebook post, whatever platform you on. They did not drop nothing. They just said, just slip it in there. So first off and foremost, for everybody putting the Buff Goku hashtags, thank you. This is all y'all's doing. Y'all effed up because now this dude is doing all types of crazy stuff. We'll start off with you, Glow. What has been your experience using this Goku post-plat equip?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This equip moved mountains. I'm not gonna lie. This equip, I'm not gonna say the Goku niggas were right all along. You were not.
Hey,
It
listen.
took a divine intervention for this to happen, bro. Like, he literally got everything he should have had to begin with. Heal on swap out, gauge off rip, key on entry, the buff removal. I'm like, come on. And he heals 20% come on now. Come on.
You
Like,
can't
he
go
should have
wrong.
been at this.
Like, can we just stop for a second and just look at how much he's healing? Like, taking away from the actual equip itself, he was already healing every time his gauge fill up, which, just going back, I'm just going to pull it up so you guys have the accuracy here. He was healing by, 20% every time he fills.
Now he actually has like a shit ton of healing.
Mm-hmm. And if you pair him with like Shin or anybody else that can heal on swap, he's not dying at all.
Yeah, he's not.
So, I mean, it's definitely good to see that this unit, and also, I mean, you mentioned that he got things he should have got. That 10% on standby, that motherfucker didn't need that shit. The 15% HP, was he lacking in HP at all? Like stats wise?
Yes, he was.
Hold on, let's compare real quick, because his HP full maxed out, okay, was 2.4 mil. All right, so he was on the low end, but on top of, like, he's got too many equips. Can we like just look at his equip selection? Does he have the best equip selection out of any unit in the game? Not counting hybrids, because they have that one mistake.
Because it took all of this for them to finally admit, hey, maybe we fucked up with this unit. Like, it took all of that for him finally to look like something he should have been day one. And that will always be something I'm always gonna slander the devs for. Because thank you for doing this, but this was also long overdue.
Yeah, but like, did he really need like the health restoration? Like, he's getting the health, but they gave him 20% health restoration.
He needed that. Like, everything in his kit he needed. I'd argue he needed more, because I'd argue that he needed the buff removal on Rush too. But I'm not gonna be greedy. I just got this. She just got this. So I'm not gonna be too greedy.
Okay, so let's compare though. If he had all of this on release at 6th-year anniversary, where would he be ranked?
On release, pre G4, I think he's top 3. Post G4, he's still top 10. And I genuinely do think, had he had all this, including the stat increase and the stuff he had in his equip on release, I genuinely think there would be like he would never have dropped out of top 10 even till now. Because he has no competition on his team for being a green.
That's true. And like, there's no actual besides UG4 at the time in his prime. There's no really other purples that's kind of like putting him like on a hit list. Greens right now are just running rampant without any care in the world, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, but hey, I'll take it. Thanks, community, for putting out the hashtag buff Gakus. If you want to do me a solid and do the same thing for Goku Black, please do. And maybe within the next 3 to 4 months, we'll get a unique equip for him that'll put him in the top 3 conversation.
All right, brother, man. Let's not get too greedy. I mean, he needs it, but let's just say he's.
He ain't that bad?
Hey, listen, it's not happening. I'm not saying he's not that bad, but I'm telling you right now, good luck.
Hey, look, I think this is a testament that the devs do listen. And, you know, when I get the battle hour and I'm going to ask myself, did y'all see hashtag buff Goku? Is that why y'all did what y'all did? I'm going to give y'all the 411. But Obsto, what about you? Like, have you ran into this Goku in PvP? Do you think this equip has done him justice?
He's very easily top 10 right now.
That's a good thing.
With the greatest of Vs. I'd even go so far as to say that he's better than VB right now.
Ooh, better than VB? He just dropped.
Yes.
And there's a genuine argument, and it's mostly because of teams. And the value of what this VB's value as MV no longer stands uncontested in the meta.
So like the non-need for counter unique gauges has kind of put him in the wayside. Do you think he'll creep back up as we get more counter unique gauges? Or will Goku still be the better option for that team?
If we get more counter gauges, then VB is going to be better. But as it stands right now, since we aren't getting more counter gauges, then Godku is going to be infinitely better.
Yep.
That's good to hear. So for anybody who has summoned for Goku as an investment, this is your time to shine. But for the overall equip and stats that they've given him, do you think there were any mistakes that the devs have done when creating this equipment? And this for
Honestly,
you,
no. I think everything he got, he should have been had. I think there's genuinely no. I don't have any issues, no like flaws. I would like off rip say, hey, this unit shouldn't have had this. Like, I think I'm satisfied with what he's gotten.
And then what about you, Desla? Do you have this unit at all? How do you feel about God? Because I know you like the movie. It was one of your favorite movies. Do you think this equip has brought him to justice?
I would say with confidence right now, it'll be a tier list I put out tomorrow, actually, funnily enough. Right now, I have him slotted 7.
Ooh.
And the reason why is because the fact that currently it just addressed so many problems that he had beforehand, where one, he had no real defensive utility whatsoever. Now with his equip, he actually has, the ability to cancel buff effects on, a special move proc or awaken or ultimate, which is fantastic. Also restoring his health by 20% twice when that happens, which is great for him. And then finally doing the bare minimum and giving the fucker 30 key on entry. Wow. It only took, 6 months later, but we're here. But no, I definitely think right now that with confidence, the best team for him at the moment is definitely Movies with Beast, Turles, and him. And that team is just beyond fun because, for one, there's really no toxicity of it whatsoever because Beast, as we've already discussed prior, is a very healthy release. There's nothing really inherently bad about him, barring the beam cannon, which, again, you have to actually play. Like, your frontal lobe is still attached into your brain to be able to actually use it correctly. So there's that. Turles, I don't want to hear anyone talking about how he's a problem or ever was. He wasn't, period. Get over it. And
He really
then
wasn't.
No, he wasn't. And then Godku, I mean...
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, hold on. I mean, if I rile them up, then go ahead and get out, man. Go ahead, go nuts.
I guess Glow ain't got nothing to say. That's it?
Well, damn.
Listen,
All right.
I think Goku. I think this was long overdue. That's all I gotta say about Goku, man.
No, I mean, bro, I thought you were gonna
though.
have an issue with me mentioning Turles or have a rant to give to the
I thought you was about to cock back and shoot.
No, I think the only issue with Turles is just the team just doesn't fit him. It's really it. Like, Turles isn't a bad unit right now in this meta. I don't think he's a bad unit. I never think he was a problem unit. I think the only issue right now in Movies is just he just doesn't fit.
So
there's too much offensive. There's too much offensive Z abilities for him to actually bulk.
Wow. So it would be the optimal movie team does not have Turles on it?
Yep.
Wow. I was not expecting the movie main to say that. I thought like Turles was easily
I think there's
slotted.
a conversation about whether it is, but overall, I think it's just I don't know. It's weird right now.
Yeah,
I think we
Yeah.
need a lot more testing, but like Turles without a Zenkai buff because of how the team is, it's like yeah,
he gets shredded. Too many greens.
way too many, way
Well,
too
my
many
thing right
greens.
now is that in my experience currently, one, I have DBS Broly on bench for Zenkai buffing, so that's one thing. And
Mandatory.
then two, I actually switched out let me see. Switched out 3Q, like the Fusion Reborn, not Fusion Reborn, Wrath of the Dragon one
Like
Mm-hmm.
for
what?
like second coming Broly instead to just give double defense for him. And I'll be honest with you, even only like at 5, because unfortunately, and I'll give a whole story about this later if you want it, but pretty much I gave the Ultra Z power I had in reserve to Beast while his banner was returning because, as I mentioned to you guys, on the side, I did actually summon on his return banner, and damn, that did not go well.
Oh
At least
no.
not first. And then, funnily enough, the story about it was that one of my good friends actually came in clutch because of personal matters happening where you could tell I was kind of not in a good spot, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I got you, man." He literally like takes my phone and adds like Apple credit to it. I'm like, "Well, shit." Like at that point, yeah, sure, why not, brother? I'll do it for you. I hop in for one rotation, bro. There he is. I'm like,
Wow.
hey, it's just that simple. But no, overall, I would definitely say right now that with the current like setup that I have, I've had no problem with him tanking the way that he has been currently. And even then, like the strategy for me more often than not is that I'll keep him there to take a couple of combos here and there to stall for a little bit. But more often than not, I'm having him there in the background so that if someone's last man, I literally just bring him in there to sack him off and like win the match because you can't do anything against his comeback.
That's true.
Like there is literally no counterplay to it. You are going to lose. I get a guaranteed priority and I win. That's just how it is. So that's my strategy as far as how I use that. For me, I think that's better than any comp that GB would swap over him with because I do understand the argument or behind it that again, Godku and Beast are more defensive oriented. But if you do kind of supplement the bench a little bit differently to kind of help him like actually sustain better, I think that he performs better in that regard. But overall, I would say that right now I still do think that movies is like Gaku's best comp by a mile regardless. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm very happy with how the equip turned out because like I mentioned before, or you mentioned before, that this movie is legit one of my favorite Z movies ever, period, end discussion. And he should have at least been up to this standard as far as his performance on drop. There's no reason why an anniversary LF should be really looked at like a joke when they came out, but
Mm-hmm.
he was. And it's even more insulting when you compare who dropped with him, being Ultimate Gohan, who only just now, after this fest has ended, has fallen out of top 10.
Literally the counter to him. Frame one.
Like, again, it's I understand it's the Gohan bias, but like you said in the reveal, and I quote Toshi, don't think I'm not going to catch you on this shit because you just fucking skid out on us, all right? You said that you dropped this guy now ahead of time because he is a highly anticipated character. So why would you make him bad?
Well, he's got to answer that himself at some point.
Well, he's not going to answer it now because he's gone. So,
Well,
you
he'll
know?
still be the producer. He just won't be, the face. Well, we'll have to see
Right.
how this new guy kind of carries the torch, which, more than
I
welcome.
mean, you're going to Battle Hour, bro. So if he's there, then ask away.
Oh, I got a whole suite of questions. And if you guys have additional questions, also listeners, if you got questions as well, definitely send me a list and I will try my best to compile the good ones and we'll try to get some of those questions answered. But
Where are the androids?
Yeah,
Where are they?
Nowhere.
that's question
Nowhere.
3.
Where are they?
Where's the LOE? Like there's so many questions on why they buff the tags.
Where's
but,
DB Saga?
Like, where's all this other stuff?
man, where's Zarbon? But anyways, like going back to this equip, I just gotta say my piece with Goku. I've been a vivid user of this unit since he dropped, playing when there was the worst meta for him at release with Ultimate Gohan and UG4, and I was literally fighting against like the rapid waters here on trying to utilize him in PvP. And I gotta say, like, once his gauge gets reset and he goes neutral and he pops ult 100% cut pin, anyone's gonna die. Anyone. As long as you don't got like comeback or something like that, he's going to nuke you. But with this equip, they gave him 100% to his gauge. Battle start activates once. So as soon as he jumps on the board, he's at 100%. If he hits you, he's already getting the reset and he's going to destroy. Right now, I'm going against Ultimate Goals. I just went to like matches back to back to back. 12-star Gohan, 12-star Gohan, 12-star Gohan. Goku does not care. He will refill his gauge, get the key, and just start pummeling, doing all types of damage. You get him to have health, he does not care. You sidestep, you draw 1 or 2 cards, you continue with the onslaught, and he's gone. That's been my experience. I don't know, maybe the guys, shout out to the players that I played against in PvP, but maybe they didn't just have the right equips for sustain or whatever. But Goku is him. That's all I gotta say. Now, moving on to the last Zenkai to talk about, the long-awaited 4 years in the making Zenkai Gogeta Blue. So we're gonna switch it up. Desla, we'll start off with you first. Are you happy with his reveal? Are you happy with his performance, or is he bench?
I would say at the current moment that it's a matter of, honestly, to see his true potential, he needs that equip, because the biggest glaring problem about him is that he just cannot take a hit worth a damn. Just can't do it. I mean, I literally fought a full 14-star, like, I guess the team I'd call it is the end of Fest Cole, like, full God Key comp pretty much with the Blue Boys, him, and then Godku. And even at 14, dude, like, he was getting shredded.
Paper mache?
Really, yeah, like really bad. And the issue right now that comes into play with is from the fact that they thought that giving him 50% sustain was a good idea. And I'm just like, why would we do that? Like, you had like everything you were nailing as far as the kit was concerned anyway, which I do think that the kit itself was designed very well. Don't get me like, twisted with that, but just that one problem there really hurts him, because again, in a perfect world where you're able to always get like priorities with the guy, you're able to always do damage, blah blah whatever, wow, he's so great. But when it comes time for you to fuck up, or Legends like to pull its usual shenanigans, then you're just sitting there being eviscerated and instantly getting your 50% disruptor proc first and foremost, which you better pray actually procs in time, because otherwise you might just fucking die before it even gets off.
Wow.
So it's just an issue of where, unfortunately, that bulk being completely missing makes it to where he just really needs an equip that can patch that up. And once that happens, we're having a whole different conversation. But until then, at the current moment, I don't think he's top 10.
Wow.
I just don't.
That's crazy. And with just glancing at his kit, though, besides like his ability to tank damage, him able to do the damage, that's not the problem, right? It's just like if he loses priority, is GG?
I mean, unless you have some you can sponge hits on back by, which, I mean, the thing about it is that you need to have someone who can sponge out those hits, which is why I think that the value of seeking out someone like Turles is really imperative, because barring that, like, sure, you have some like cute, like neat disruptive things, but the issue arises when you have this complete glass cannon your team who cannot take a hit worth a damn, and you need someone to kind of be like backup to help him stall for a bit, to kind of recover, catch your breath, whatever, and have a chance to recuperate so you can get his ass back in there and start doing some damage again. Again, the problem is that when people don't run those units like Turles, that's really about it. There's no other like predominant tank I can think of in the game at the moment, where unfortunately you're just left high and dry with like no options really to be able to actually bring that to reality.
Yeah.
So it leads it to where you're just waiting for this hypothetical equip that's going to give him bulk. That's really the only thing I can say for him that's going to like make anything of substantiality happen. Until then, I mean, it's an issue of where even on fusions, like, I'll be so honest with you, I would actually take Ultra G4 over him. I'm not going to lie to you. As a third, like with VB and Go tanks, I would absolutely take G4 over him, because at least his disrupt while you're not running to VBs is consistent.
That's true.
So there's that. But overall, again, just it's an unfortunate thing of where they just waited way too damn long on this shit. And as I mentioned before, like them waiting this long makes it to where, like, for me, I just wasn't excited. I'll keep it a buck. Like, I really could have cared less. And when it came time to like actually use him, sure, he's cool for a day, but again, the problem arises where that brother cannot take a hit worth a damn.
Yeah. So then paper mache at this point. That's wild. And the only additional like sustained damage received that he gets is off of the green card, which if you miss that, I mean that's a free combo. So there's that.
Yeah.
But we may have a whole other idea on the other side of the spectrum. Glow, I gotta hear your take. Do you agree with Desla on this, on him just being a novelty or not even top 10? Or does he know what he's talking about?
I think there's an actual argument for GB being top 10 for his offensive potential.
Mm-hmm.
Because while we were playing right now, I just had a 1v3 versus a Turles, a VB, and a Gogeta, and a Beast Tom with Gogeta. I didn't mean for that to happen. It just happened. But I genuinely do think that I do agree, like defensively, this man is paper mache. But at the same time, he's not gonna eat hits. People not gonna eat hits from him. Like he actually does modern damage. And I'd argue like his damage is like on par with the top 5 units in the game.
Interesting.
I'd even argue top 3, like damage wise. Like he gets that 100% cut pen for 30 counts. He has this anti armor. He has that health restore debuff. He has just so much. Like when you actually read his kit, you realize he gets a ton of like damage inflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a base 130. He gets 30 just for entering the battlefield for 20 counts. He ramps it up every time he uses like a card up to 60. He gets 40% ult damage. And this is probably the biggest thing. He just gets 20% for 10 timer counts every 3 timer counts for being on the field. That means that he just like the longer he's on the field, just the stronger this unit gets. I genuinely believe you can have an argument from him like being either 10 or 9. I'd be more comfortable saying 10 because I don't want to push too far because defensively, like I said, he's fragile.
Mm-hmm.
But he does present a very weird situation for movies because if you do run him, Turles becomes a problem for movies because Turles needs a team with more well-rounded Z abilities and he needs his own Zenkai bench.
Mm-hmm.
Him being a Zenkai bench for Beast is great for Beast, but it hurts Turles because Beast is double offense, Gogeta Blue is double offense. You're going to require to be running an HP buffer, and Turles is going to be double defense. And if you're going to Zenkai buff Godku, odds are you're going to use Dragon Fist, a double offense Z ability. Turles is barely getting anything to be able to tank hits and be defensive, unless you sacrifice that Zenkai for either Beast or Godku, and you run Blue Broly.
Mm-hmm.
It really just creates a weird bench issue for the team. Because if you're also going to be running Gogeta, because if you run yellow, green, which is Beast, Goku, and GB, you also get to use the fusing GB that dropped this year as
Mm-hmm.
bench if you have them 14 stars, which is 38% to strike attack, strike defense, and then 10% to God Key
HP.
HP.
Yup.
Like that's just as good, if not better, than some Zenkai benches.
I agree. So then his defenses is kind of what holds him back at this point. But what about his green card? Is it still as satisfying to land it? Because it does lock for its 5 timer counts. If you land it, is that a dead character?
If you land it, it is. If you land it, like with how much damage his teams can do, because his teams have so much offensive Z abilities, it's almost guaranteed a dead character. If a character doesn't die, you fumbled, and that's on you.
So then don't miss the green card. I know Billy, he's got to be on cloud 9 waking up and utilizing this unit because he was using that
Oh, I
unit
know.
vividly, man. I'm telling you, like religiously.
The man is having so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to all the God Key mains too, man. Also, RevQ, all y'all. I know you guys are happy with all the God Key buffs. It's our time to shine. Crimstronic as well. Yo, it is our time
I know
to
Krim
shine.
is happy as hell, man.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
will say his ult, what's it called? His ult getting type neutral is genuinely crazy though.
Yeah. And that occurs after the 50% HP proc, right? Like when his
Yeah.
blues get enhanced.
Yeah, you actually want him to fall below 50% because eventually you want him to get that type neutral on that ult. His special move gets 30% more damage on something that already hits hard.
Yep. Can't go wrong with that. And then like him getting the ult twice, how often will this unit be last man standing? Because like looking at the team cons, like who are you giving up to make Gogeta last man?
I don't think it's one of those things where you should not aim for him to be the last man standing.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is, at least you got something. That's the way to look at it. He
Okay.
should not be the last man standing. But if anything happens, then hey, he can fight back.
Yeah. Like that, give him that extra reassurance so that he doesn't
Hmm.
get like mollywopped or something. He can come back from a 3v1 by hitting two people with an ult and just catching a green card, and that should seal the match. At least that's how my brain is playing it out.
Hmm.
So that's definitely interesting to see. And then what about you, Opsto? Have you ran into the Zenkai Gogeta Blue in PvP, or do you think this Zenkai has brought him into the top 10 conversation?
I don't think he's top 10, purely because all he does is damage and damage and damage and damage. But if he gets even touched by any even purples, then he's a wet noodle.
Mm,
So, again, you need more in this meta, in this game, than just damage.
I can see that. And even with his
Of
disrupt,
course, again, his damage is impressive. I'll give you that. But with that disrupt, like you mentioned, you're going to be getting that with one card. He's that paper.
that's crazy. And I mean, we're one red away from definitely putting like the yellows on watch. So maybe that would also, go against him on just being on the top 10 conversation. Which,
Oh, it absolutely would. Like, if you think he's top 10 now, as soon as we get a red that's even remotely good
Oh,
at
he's
putting
cooked.
down these
He's
yellows,
cooked.
yeah, he's absolutely cooked.
He's cooked.
man,
But let us enjoy it for now.
yeah. Well, we'll enjoy it for now. But I mean, overall, as for my take, I definitely enjoy the addition to this Gogeta Blue Zenkai. It definitely helps with some team comps that I've been trying to work on, like some yellow yellow blues or yellow yellow greens. And then him being a Zenkai bench buffer for the fusing blue bros, the yellow one, that's very helpful, giving that an extra bulk, the additional damage because of the Z ability. Like it's all good around. And I know
Man,
for
that boy
the
replaced him.
who does Gogeta replace the fusing Gogeta Blue?
Man, he got more value to run, and he's got just as much to be a bench. Like those guys, I'm sorry, they're regulated bench.
So here's my take on that. What I've learned by just utilizing this unit earlier today, they buff wipe on tag switch. And they get the buff neutral, or like them not being able to get debuff post fusion when they enter the battlefield. So the cost increase from Ultra Beast doesn't work on them, which allows them to
It's what
combo through it.
they fuse. However, how are you getting there?
I mean, you combo like you can get the couple of hits off, pop green switch and stuff. Like I mean, I was doing it. I'm
Going
not.
to combo with them when you're facing fusing Gogeta Blue. Are you going to combo against them when you have MV? Who, if MV lands a blue card on them, that you're cooked?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't deny the counter to the blue card. Like that's most of the units getting cooked nowadays, anyways. But I mean, they still hold some type of value, right? I mean, you can still make a play. I'm not gonna say they're top 10. That's what I'm not saying. So there's my disclaimer: the fusing Gogeta Blue is not top 10, but there is a play if you ever decide to use them with the Zenkai bench from the Zenkai Gogeta Blue, if you wanted to do that as an option. So, but I mean, overall, like the unit's great. I'm definitely glad that they decided to get the Zenkai out the way. We still got to get the unique equip to really see the full max potential of this Gogeta Blue Zenkai. So, more to be seen on where he stands as an overall unit. But the green card just being as satisfying what it is, and also giving that additional bulk when, activation of the green card. Kind of weird on why they put it there, but it is what it is. They can still do phenomenal damage, and with a high skilled hand, you can definitely come back for some 3v1s. So there's that. But that wraps up for all of the meta talks there. So now we'll go ahead and move it on to our special conversation segment where we kind of look into 2025 and see what kind of units we're going to get dropped. So Desla, I'll let you take it away.
I got you. So pretty much what I cooked up was this little like list as far as like campaigns we might be able to see, and I mainly oriented on like tags that really need like actual help, pretty much. And I focused on, let me see, the 7 that I think need to help the most that are actually realistic. So the reason why GT isn't on here is because of the fact that we saw from how Unireps was treated this year from their big year in 23 that they got nothing this entire last year. So that's leading me to believe that GT is going to be completely absent this year as well. So I think that that's a good reason why I would keep them off the table. as far as like any kind of speculation is concerned. So there's that. But as far as the first one, I actually have being Dragon Ball Saga. The reason why I go with that is because the fact that right now we're having a anime that's having a lot of like, you know, oh, Kid Goku, Kid Vegeta, all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, hey, you know what? If we're trying to kind of harken back to, you know, humble beginnings here, then why don't we go back to where it all began? And obviously, since DB hasn't got anything since 23 with, you know, 23rd World Tournament Goku Jr., I think it's perfectly within bounds to say that it's time to get some more stuff. So I think for that, the three that I want to go with as far as like realistic picks are an Ultra Demon King Piccolo, a LF Kid Goku where he actually penetrates Piccolo, like to actually finish off their fight, and then a 1% Jackie Chun. I think those are all perfectly fine picks as far as what I would go with. So there's that. And then next one I have coming after that would be Universe Reps, which again hasn't been touched, and now at this point a full year. So it's definitely time to go back to that. And then the LF I have on the first for like the list for this is a LF Kaioken Blue Goku from the Universe 6 tournament, which I think is a very overdue LF that I'm
Mm-hmm.
shocked has not happened before this. Next one would be a LF Synchro Gauge Kefla, which I think that if they're going to try and even remotely, you know, one up this last year, that we need to start seeing more implementations of the synchro gauge sooner rather than later, and it should not take until anniversary again to see it again. So that'd be a great character to use it on. Why not? And then as a 1%, you could have a Frieza and 17 that can tag with the moment in particular being when they were trying to fend off Jiren before Goku got back up or whatever. Next, I have LOE, which I think that also needs a lot of help because the last time they got any kind of substantial support was Ultra Golden Frieza, which is about to be a year old and 3 months from now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely due for some help there. So the Ultra I have as a pick for this is an Ultra Frieza from Namek, which I think is, I mean, I know we are obviously got an Ultra like Frieza last year, but this one from Namek is overdue. Needs to happen. So I definitely am petitioning for that for sure. A elephant cooler that has some kind of like comeback, revival, whatever it may be. It has to be some kind of second life mechanic that will be incorporated in his kit because I can't imagine a metal cooler in this day and age that's of a premium rarity not having something like that. It just seems like it's peanut butter and jelly pretty much. And then 1% for us because why not? Whatever. Next one after that is a regen campaign where we see the synchro gauge come back as far as a fusion Zamasu. So Black going into Zamasu, fusing to them, I think would be a great pick. An LF Super Janemba, I think is perfectly fine. Why not? We got an Ultra for them. You know, with 23, why not do it again, but with an LF this time? And then a 1% transforming Lord Slug, like how a DKP transformed from being old to being young again, I think is fine because Lord Slug is basically just, you know, rip off DKP anyway, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have androids, which I know someone who's on our podcast is foaming at the mouth for.
Who?
You have, I
I
wonder.
don't know who.
Yeah, and then you have the big one that a lot of people are definitely expecting to drop at some point this year, a Ultra Cell, which I do think, I mean, if they don't do this year, something's
Fumble.
going on. Like I don't know what's happening, but that's a really weird omission, but whatever. And then the next one I have is actually a LF synchro gauge for the Android trio, but it works differently to where it actually kind of works how Pycon and Gogeta did, where you would actually go into a completely new character once their mechanic procs, but instead of a revival, it's a synchro gauge to where you're actually able to build up the meter to be able to go into 16, and 16 can have some crazy new shit, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think that's fine. Then 1% transforming 13 because why not? Whatever. Next up, we got a campaign for the Super Saiyans, which I think I picked some pretty good stuff for that. You got from the Super 13 movie, you have a LF Super Saiyan Goku with an assist being Vegeta and Future Trunks, which I mean I'm being reasonable on as far as you know keep my expectations tempered because I don't think they drop a triple tag unit for a monthly campaign. I think they'd save that for any or fest. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that something like this is a little more reasonable. Next up, you have from Second Coming a LF Super Saiyan Gohan with a Goten assist. The LF obviously being the family Kamehameha. I think that's something we actually expected from this Z Movies campaign we had this last year, but
Didn't
didn't
get
happen.
that.
And then 1% Super Saiyan Trunks from the same movie with Second Coming because why not? Whatever. And the last campaign I have is going to be for PO. And the Ultra for that, I think, is very overdue and should happen this year for sure, is a DBS Broly. I would be very on board with that. I think it's long since overdue that he gets an Ultra of some kind. I think we're definitely due for it, so let's make it happen. LF can be a transforming Bojack because we've gotten 1% of him and even EXs, but still no LF, which I think, at this point, they've given LF just really anybody at this point, so I don't think the Bojack's on the table. And then to wrap it up, we have a 1% Golden Frieza who has the final counter mechanic similar to how Cell did from a couple years back, where he's able to blow himself up, obviously, when you kill him. This will just be the scene where he just blows up the Earth before Whis rewinds it, pretty much, from the ROF movie. Okay. But yeah, that's all I got as far as units we get to kind of expect this year. So yeah.
Well, I'm definitely liking the takes for sure. I'm excited for August. I'm hoping that switched a little bit sooner than that because androids they really need it. Like the Celza is cool, but it's not enough to make like a really strong cohesive team.
Right.
So we'll have to see how kind of all that turns out. But that kind of wraps up this week's episode. I know there was a lot that we went over, but if you want to go ahead and check out Desla's tier list that he's dropping tomorrow, definitely follow his Twitter page. So keep a lookout for that. Moving on to Dragon Ball related news, the Battle Hour is coming up within the next couple of weeks. Actually, it is next weekend. So I booked my trip. So I will be out there. So, if there are any of you listeners or any content creators, you'll be out there. I'll try to link up with you guys and say what's up. I'll try to spend some time and, meet the developers and probably get some kind of exclusive content where I'll kind of post up on social media for you guys to check out, ask them a suite of questions. So again, if you guys have any questions that you guys want me to ask them, that's respectful, obviously, not like, hey, why do you guys suck dick or something like that? Like, well, I'm not asking them that, you know what I mean? But, actual real questions, I'll be more than happy to try to get it towards them and see what they'll be willing to answer. And then also as a heads up, we do have the Daima episode that's coming up tomorrow as well. So we'll see if we get some more Vegeta Clan action or if we get like another banner or something like that to kind of help fill in the Daima series. And then lastly, what else is going on? I know the California Fire is going on, so we'll see if Battle Hour is still going on or not. Hopefully it will. But I think that kind of wraps it up for the Dragon Ball related news, unless I'm missing anything. But again, that wraps up this week's episode. So if you want to go ahead and follow us on social media, definitely follow Glow's Twitch account. Follow our social media accounts on well as Twitter. Definitely have the YouTube account. We're doing a campaign. We're going road to 1,000 subscribers. So I'm trying to stream at least one time per week. If you ever wanted to drop by the stream and say what's up or want to get beat up in PvP, definitely check in and say what's up. And check us out on Spotify as well, because the episode will be on that and YouTube. And we will see you guys next week.
See y'all.
See y'all.